I believe that this world is full of shitty people. And it is our job as the good people to make sure that the people who commit crimes are brought to justice. On March 11th, 1985, Harold and Thelma Swain were brutally murdered. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse. Welcome to another episode of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. Today I will be covering the case of Harold and Thelma Swain. But first, as always, if you like what you watch, feel free to click that like button, click subscribe, and the bell to be alerted when I release new content. All my contact information is in the description below. Let's get on to the show right after these commercials from the 1980s.
We will return after these messages.
On March 11th, 1985, Harold and Thelma Swain, sorry about that, Helma, I didn't even know that was a word, but anyway, Harold and Thelma Swain were brutally murdered in their church. I think Harold was like a priest or something. I may be wrong about that, but they were murdered at the church that they participated in activities with various people at. Let's see if there's been any, if there was any update to the case. Hold on one second, let me do this. So if you are new to this series, this is basically where I go to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki and we look up the case. My secretary, her name is Jasmine. She will read to us the case and I'll give you my thoughts in between, breaks and everything, whatnot. So let's actually, can I zoom in? Let's see here, zoom. Okay, there you go. So I'll read the introduction first. So basically, we have Harold and Thelma Swain. They had no known nicknames. The location was Waverly, Georgia, and the date was March 11th, 1985. I was still 4 years old at that time. I was three. Sorry, 3. Okay, so Jasmine will read from this point. Basically, I have the computer use the reading program that's part of my browser, and then, like I said, when it gets done reading, I'll give you my thoughts if I have any, about this portion. Okay, read aloud. Come on.
Details. 66-year-old Harold Swain was the well-respected deacon of Rising Daughters Baptist Church in Waverly, Georgia. He was a retired pulpwood worker, a handyman, a volunteer firefighter, a member of the County Jury Commission, and a spokesperson for the Black community. His 63-year-old wife, Thelma, was also closely involved with church affairs. She was a devoted wife and surrogate mother to their niece, LaFane Kite, whom they raised from infancy. They had been married for over 43 years. They were described as an exemplary couple, well-liked by members of the community. LaFane said they were gentle people who liked to fish, garden, and participate in church activities. They lived in a ranch-style house not far from the church.
So it sounds like that overall they were living a pretty nice life. I mean, they had respect of almost everybody, and they were together for like 43 years. I would like you to find somebody nowadays, in Hollywood especially, that has been married for over 43 years. I doubt you'll really be able to find anybody like that. Come on.
Waverly, population 825, is a predominantly Black community nestled in the Baptist Bible Belt. Lumber, farming, and the paper mill provide the income for the small, isolated area over 35 miles from the nearest big city, Jacksonville, Florida. For years, Rising Daughters Baptist Church has served not only as a place of worship, but also as a social center for the small township. But on Monday, March 11th, 1985, this quiet community was shattered by violence. The quiet sanctity of the church was violated when Harold and Thelma were brutally murdered there. Harold's brother, Robert, recalls that he was always happy, jolly,
Oh, hold on.
and laughing. These things came naturally to him because of his love and kindness. At 7 p.m. on the
Nope. Sorry, go back. Sometimes the program does this. It'll start skipping. Come on.
kindness for everyone. He would always go out of his way to help someone at any time. Van Zola went back into the church and told
hold on.
Harold about the man.
It looks like it's acting up. Let's see here. Okay, so population. I'm trying to find out where. There's big cities. Here, let's just actually start from here again. Rising Baptist Church. There. Let's go. It would help if let's close it out. And then we will resume from this part. See if it'll work. Hold on. Just close that shit forever.
Rising Daughters Baptist Church has served
Oh my god, this fucking program. Okay, let's Rising Daughters Baptist Church. There you go.
Rising Daughters Baptist Church has served not only as a place of worship, but also as a social center for the small township. But on Monday, March 11th, 1985, this quiet community was shattered by violence. The quiet sanctity of the church was violated when Harold and Thelma were brutally murdered there.
Okay, and I think we may have gone over this part already before the program started acting up, so I apologize if we did. Yeah, there we go. Harold's brother, because I remember them mentioning that he's happy and jolly, but we'll continue going from here.
Harold's brother, Robert, recalls that he was always happy, jolly, and laughing. These things came naturally to him because of his love and kindness for everyone. He would always go out of his way to help someone at any time. If someone needed a favor, and he was able to do it, he would do it. Robert said that Thelma was the same way about helping people. Harold's friend, Steve Rawl, said that the amount of people at their funeral was the most he had ever seen, and that it showed how much everyone thought about and respected them.
They meant to say respected them, but the program sometimes does not catch the very last word completely, so but yeah. I've always had a feeling. This kind of also really became prominent right after my mom died from her heart attack. I believe that not only is it our job as the good people basically to help solve these crimes when something happens. However, along with that, I also believe that this planet, this Earth, whatever you want to call it, this planet devours the good people, while the criminals and all those type are left to roam. And I honestly feel that's not fair. The good people are always the ones that seem to pay the price, and the criminals are the ones left to basically inherit this planet. And to me, I just hate that idea. I do. I do. I was so mad right after my mom passed away because, my mom was a good person. She died of a heart attack, and yet we have people in prisons, killers in prisons, who are allowed to have a long, full life in prison. And my mom, she died at 61 from a heart attack. To me, I fail to see how that's fair at all,
At 7 p.m. on the night they were murdered, Harold and Thelma held their
Nope. We're not jumping around
weekly
there.
Monday night Bible class at the church. 9 women from several area churches attended. At 8:50 p.m., one of them, Vanzola Williams, excused herself early to go pick up her daughter at work. As she entered the church vestibule, she encountered a man leaning against the wall. She asked if she could help him, and he said that he needed to talk to somebody. When she asked who he needed to talk to, he said, "Somebody in there." They opened the doors to the church. He pointed at Harold and said, "I want to talk to him." Vanzola went back into the church and told Harold about the man. Some of the
Nope, we're not doing that.
the other women in the group caught just a glimpse of him as he stood in the doorway. Behind the pews,
Jesus Christ, this program is acting up a lot today. Come on, doorway.
None of them recognized him. Harold followed Vanzola out into the vestibule and met with the man. As she left the church, she heard them talking. Just seconds later, the man pulled out a gun. Harold tried to wrestle it from him. However, the man shot him 4 times, 3 times in the chest and once in the back of the head. Thelma ran out to the vestibule. The man shot her once in the upper chest area.
Okay, so it sounds like it was premeditated. He knew what he was going to do. He pointed out Harold and that he was like, "I want to talk to that man." So this isn't even like it was just a random encounter. It sounds like that this guy must have known Harold, and in return, Harold must have possibly known this guy. But before I continue on, I do want to check something. Let's see here. Okay, they were talking about... Okay, so I want to check out what the current population is, because they said as of this time it was 825 people. So here, let's do this. Now I want to make sure it's still selected. Okay, still selected. And it was Waverly, Georgia? Okay, so... this is something I'll do every now and then. Let's just see here. Waverly, Georgia population. Wow, holy shit. I'll be honest, I was actually expecting it to climb, to skyrocket, but it actually dropped. Holy shit. 281, but let's check this out. Now that was as of 2020 also. See here. Yeah, as of the 2020 census, 281 people. Wow. Their economy must have really crashed since this case happened. Let's see here. It really kind of switched. They originally said that the population was predominantly black, and now it looks like it's predominantly white. Wow. Wish that they actually showed like a year by year, like it had a year by year chart, but it doesn't look like it. Jesus, wow. Okay, well that's kind of depressing. I was hoping to hear that this little town became like a larger city. I'm not saying like LA size population, but I'm talking about like possibly at least like 5,000-6,000 people. But no, they actually went down to like 281. Wow. That's over a 50% drop. Holy shit. Okay, so let's clear this out. Clear that. Go ahead, there you go. And then we will do this. Waverly also sounds like it would be a nice place to live.
Yay. One woman from the class named Cora Fisher fainted when she witnessed the shooting. Some of the women hid behind the pews. Others rushed into the kitchen and pastor's office and tried to call for help. However, the phone did not work. Vanzola, who heard the shots, ran around the church, came in through the back door, and joined them. 20 minutes passed while the women waited in fear. Finally, one of them, Marjorie Moore, armed herself with a broom and made a dash for her car. She noticed an unfamiliar vehicle in the parking lot It left soon afterward. She then went to a nearby convenience store to summon help. Sadly, it was too late. Harold and Thelma were dead. That night, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation was brought in, and a massive manhunt started in Wave.
I meant to say Waverly, but yeah. So I honestly, I don't think that those ladies could have really done anything to really save Harold or Thelma. They said that he was, if I remember correctly, didn't they say that he was like shot 4 times in the chest and once in the back of the head? Let's see here. I don't want to risk losing where I saved this. Let's see here. Yeah, 3 times in the chest and once in the back of the head. So odds are Harold was dead right at that point. And then he shot her in the upper. He shot Thelma in the upper chest area. So even if these ladies could have done something right away, I hate to say I just don't think that they could have really survived Harold and Thelma. I keep saying Helma. Harold and Thelma. I don't think that they would have honestly survived, which is sad because these people seem to have been very well liked by the community. Okay, let's try it now. See, hopefully it's not gonna act up.
RLY. Harold and Thelma were personal friends of Camden County Sheriff Bill Smith and his family. It was a shock to him that they had been murdered. He says that when he arrived at the scene, there was a lot of confusion. No one really knew what had happened. They did not know what the facts were or who had done the murder. They also did not know what the motive was. According to GBI agent Joe Gregory, Harold and Thelma were highly respected people who were very active in the community. They did not appear to be the type of people who would be victims of a murder.
Of a murder plot. Yeah, and that, like I said, that's what makes it even worse. The good people you want in your life, they seem to always be taken from us, and yet the pieces of shit, the people who kill the killers and the rapists and all that, they're allowed to walk this planet. How the fuck is that fair, if you ask me? It's not. It's not fair at all. And that's why we owe it to the people in all these cases that have not been solved. We owe it to them to try to get these cases solved. And if it may not be solved today or tomorrow, it may be not solved for years, but as long as we keep shining the light on it, hopefully things will get, will be solved. As long as we don't forget these people, then the cases always have a chance to be solved.
Lot. Harold and Thelma were found lying on their backs in pools of blood in the vestibule. No blood samples were taken, as it was assumed that all of the blood belonged to them. There was a lot of physical evidence found at the scene, including 5 bullet casings, 5 blue plastic shirt buttons, 2 Pepsi bottles, a smudged vestibule mirror, 4 pieces of cut telephone line, the telephone box, which had smudges or fingerprints on it, and 2 pairs of
2 pairs of glasses. Okay, so let's look over some of this evidence. Okay, so we know what the bullet casings were. 5 blue plastic shirt buttons. That could have come from, like, say, the killer. They said that Harold and the killer were, I think they said that they were wrestling around, or that Harold was trying to defend himself. So those buttons probably came from the assailant's shirt. He probably had, like, a button-up shirt. Let's see, 2 Pepsi bottles. I don't know anything about that. The smudged mirror could have been from maybe Harold or the killer got bumped up against it. 4 pieces of cut telephone line, okay, and the telephone box, which had smudges or fingerprints on it, and 2 pairs of glasses. If I remember correctly, didn't Harold wear a pair of glasses? Maybe one of them was Harold's glasses and the other could have come from the killer. Now, this is a little bit different if I remember correctly, though, because if I remember correctly, didn't they say they found 1 pair of glasses on the case? I may be wrong. I'll have to watch the case again. But didn't they say they found one pair? And it looked like that they said that the pair of glasses looked like that they were kind of in poor shape. That they looked like that they were kind of always worked on, and looks like that they were kind of Frankenstein because like maybe like one of the pieces didn't match the rest of the frame. If I may be thinking of a different case, but that's what I'm thinking now. But yeah, so now it says that there were two pairs of glasses. I'm wondering if they were talking about. Oh well, here we go. Here we go. Hold on, and this actually answers my question right here. This answers my question.
Asses. One pair of glasses was determined to have belonged to Harold. They were unable to determine who the other pair, which were metal safety glasses, belonged to. Agent Gregory's gut reaction was that the killer was a transient. He says that the glasses appeared to belong to a person who did not have enough money to properly maintain their glasses or buy a pair when they needed them. He believes that they were modified by the person for TH.
For their use. And that's what I was just basically saying. If I just had the program read a little bit further, then that would have answered my question. Okay, so there you go. So let's go continue on.
IR use. The glasses are not ordinary ones. The lenses are thick, with the surface pocked by a welding torch. The earpieces do not match. The right one was wrapped with tape. They appeared to have been assembled from parts of 2 or 3 separate pairs. They would have been worn by someone extremely farsighted with astigmatism in the right eye. Transmission fluid residue was found on them. Were they dropped by TH?
Said were they dropped by the killer? And I'm guessing since nobody recognized that second pair of glasses, I'm guessing yeah, they pretty much were. Okay, let's go all the way down to here.
Initial sketches of the killer.
No. Hold on. I do not know why it does that. See here. See
Killer?
There.
When the police discovered the glasses, they investigated the theory that Van Zola clearly saw the killer.
Wow, this program is acting up really bad today.
The church is located on busy Highway 17. Transients would often stop by for a handout or a free meal. Motorists would also stop there to ask for gas money or other assistance. But if robbery was the motive, why were over $300 left in Harold's wallet? Other evidence suggests that the crime was premeditated. The authorities feel that the church had been cased before the murder. The telephone lines to it had been cut. Agent Gregory said that this could suggest that it was a premeditated murder. However, he believes that it also could have been part of a premeditated armed robbery attempt. Van Zola clearly saw the killer. She said that he was calm. She thought he was there for a handout. She did not think
She did not think
he was there to hurt anyone. She did not see a weapon or anything on him. She noticed he was wearing scuffed boots. He was a young white man. He had long, shoulder-length blonde hair. However, she said that she did not look at him too much because she wanted to leave. The police attempted to create a picture of the killer using an identikit, but the eyewitnesses did not agree on many of the details. An artist was brought in to sketch a composite drawing. For 5 months, the police searched for the killer using it, but no new leads or clues surfaced. Finally, on July 5th, 1985, police 135 miles away in Telfair County, Georgia, pulled over a car for a minor traffic violation. In the trunk, they found an automatic weapon and submachine gun. 3 suspects were taken into custody. One of them was Donnie Barentine. Acquaintances of the suspects told Agent Gregory that he had told them and other people in Florida that he had murdered a black preacher and his wife in a church. After several interviews with him, he admitted that he had told those people that he had killed a black preacher and his wife. He then smiled and said, "But I was lying to them."
Oh, I call bullshit on that. He was not lying. At least I do not believe that he was. Why would somebody even lie about something like that? Oh, yeah, I killed those people. Oh, I was just lying, bro. I totally did not kill them. Yet they found the weapons in the car. Now, I'm guessing that this is the guy that killed them. I was going to say cowards, and I was going to say chickens. Sorry. Criminals are a cowardly bunch. They will brag about their crimes until they get caught. Once they get caught, they will do everything to try and skirt facing justice. It's just the way that they are. It's just the way criminals are. They feel that they are entitled to commit crimes, but they are not brave enough to face the repercussions of those crimes. Okay. Like I said, a cowardly bunch.
To them. Agent Gregory said that they have never been able to come up with any hard evidence to connect Barentine to the murder. After the interviews, he was given a polygraph test. He failed it. In fact, the polygraph operator told Sheriff Smith that Barentine was a very good suspect in the murder. The resemblance between the man on the wanted poster and Barentine was
inconclusive. Now, granted, lie detectors are not admissible in court, but it gives a pretty good starting point. The fact that the administrator of the polygraph said that this guy is a very good suspect in the murder should be something to at least keep in mind. And regarding the resemblance between the man in the wanted poster and Barentine was inconclusive, and that's because a lot of the people did not see who it was that shot and killed Harold and Thelma. I think they said it was only really that one lady that really saw him. That when he asked to see Harold, and I think the rest caught just a quick glimpse of him when he quickly peeked into the room. So that's why I feel that was inconclusive when it came to the wanted poster. Okay, let's continue on. But why else would a guy mention that? Oh, I killed a black priest and his wife, and then also have weapons in his trunk. It's too coincidental. I have those weapons in my trunk, but I was lying, bro. I was just lying. I actually didn't kill those guns. Those guns, don't pay any attention to those guns. I'm an upstanding citizen, ladies and gentlemen.
inconclusive. The eyewitnesses from the church were taken to Jacksonville for a police lineup. Van Zola said that she did not recognize any of the men in the lineup as the killer. She noted that he had shorter hair and a lighter complexion than Barentine. However, she also noted that he was wearing the same boots that the killer was wearing. In the end, she was unable to make a positive identification. The murder charges against Barentine were not pursued, but he was subsequently convicted on weapons charges and sentenced to 5 years in.
5 years in federal prison. And like she said, she really did not pay that much of a look at the guy because of the fact she wanted to leave. She was leaving. She didn't want to stay there that long. I think that this Barentine guy, Barentine, however you want to pronounce his name, was the killer. I mean, like he said, he told his friends that he did it, but then he said he was just lying. But he had weapons. Didn't they do any forensics? I'm wondering if they're going to mention forensics. You would think that they would have done some sort of forensics. Okay. Come on.
Initial sketches of the killer.
Jesus Christ. Okay, there you go. Let's try it again.
Errol Prison.
Okay.
1 year later, the murder investigation took a new direction. Agent Gregory came across a face in a state crime bulletin which exactly matched the identikit picture created by one of the witnesses at the church. He says that it gave him a chill when he saw the composite because of its exact match to the one made by the witness. He notes that there are hundreds of thousands of combinations to make a composite. He wondered what the odds were that two would be the exact same. The suspect in the bulletin was wanted for burglarizing several churches in Kansas in October and November 1981. He had also asked for some gas money from a priest at one of them. He was never taken into custody. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation could not even give Agent Gregory his name. They had never developed any leads in this case. All they knew was that he drove an older car with a Florida license plate.
Okay, so apparently there could have been another person, but I'm just maybe it's because I'm biased now because of the fact that the guy said, "Oh, I killed those people." But I'm just lying. I was just lying. Why lie about stuff like that? That's pretty fucking cruel, like to say, "Oh, I killed those people, but I'm lying." Even if this guy did not kill that Harold and Thelma, it's still a fucking dick thing to say. I guess there are just things you don't kid about, and talking about you murdering people, that's something you do not kid about. At least to me. Okay, let's continue on.
The exact same. The suspect in the bulletin was wanted for burglarizing several...
Nope, we're not jumping. Continue on from here.
Burglarizing several churches in Kansas in October and November 1981. He had also asked for some gas money from a priest at one of...
Sorry guys. Let's actually go down here. Years later, come on.
License plate.
Oh, sorry. That was my bad.
License plate. Years later, the brutal murders of Harold and Thelma Swain remain a mystery. Were they just random killings committed by a violent transient? Or were they a planned and premeditated murder? And if so, why? Agent Gregory said everything that night pointed to a transient attempting to pull a robbery. Sheriff Smith, however, believes that the killer intended to murder Harold that night. He points to the following facts. The killer did not take any money. He searched for and cut the phone lines. He singled out one person in the church, brought him to the vestibule, and shot him several times with the intention of killing him, shooting him at least once in the temple. Agent Gregory said that this case has haunted him. It is one that he will never forget. He drives by the church every day and always thinks about Harold and Thelma when he sees it.
Okay.
Authorities believe that the killer may have talked about his crime to someone. Perhaps someone will remember a casual conversation which could lead to new evidence in this case.
Okay, so I totally agree with, I think it was Agent Smith that they said his name was. I may be wrong about the agent. This is definitely not a transient. This is premeditated, and I think that Beringer, or whatever his name was, Bernstein, or whatever, I think he is responsible. I think he's the one that did it. Granted, it's just me saying this now after the fact of, going through this case. But the guy was found with two guns. And he made the crack about killing a priest. And it was not a robbery because, like they mentioned, if it's a robbery, why leave the money? And also, I'm pretty sure that there would be a lot more feasible targets for a robbery than a church where, depending on, the church is basically going to really have just what the people have on it. Whereas, like, you could go to, like, a Minute Mart or something. I just don't think it was a robbery. I think this was a premeditated murder. Okay.
Suspects. The killer is described as a clean-shaven Caucasian male in his late 20s or early 30s in 1985. He is believed to be between 5 feet 6 inches and 5 feet 8 inches with a slight or medium build, weighing between 130 and 140 pounds. However, the eyewitnesses gave differing descriptions of him. Some thought he was wearing glasses, while others did not. Van Zola described him as having shoulder-length blonde, or light-colored, hair. She also said he was wearing scuffed boots. He was reportedly seen leaving the church in a 1965 to 1970 medium brown Dodge Dart or Plymouth Duster. He used a small caliber weapon in the murder.
Okay, and like I said, a lot of, the sad thing is a lot of the problems with this case is just that there was not really a good description. And that's because a lot of people were not able to get a good look at him because of the fact that he stayed out in the hall and he just kind of peeked in really quick when he was telling Van Zola, I think that's her name, that he wanted to see Harold.
A man fitting the killer's description, white with blonde hair and glasses, stopped at Reed's store, a few miles north of the church, about an hour and a half before the murder. According to the store's proprietor, the man behaved strangely and barely had enough money to pay for a Pepsi. He was wearing a jean jacket with dark jeans and a shirt. His vehicle was described as an orange or burnt orange Plymouth-type vehicle. When he left, he drove in the direction of the church. A Pepsi bottle was later found at the scene. It is not known for certain if the man was the killer, however.
Well, it's more than coincidental. I mean, like, you literally had a guy there that pointed to Harold and said that he wanted to talk to Harold, and then Harold's dead. So I'm guessing it's a pretty good chance that this guy was the killer, but now we know where the Pepsi bottle came. But didn't they say they found 2 Pepsi bottles? I'm wondering if that was just a mistake on whoever did this wiki page. It could have been a mistake on their part. So it says, however, we'll go through this. There we go. Come on.
This case first aired on the
Nope. Hold on.
As arrested, he...
Sorry. There you go.
Over. 5 blue plastic shirt buttons were found at the scene that did not belong to the victims. Some
Possibly
of the witnesses described the killer as wearing dark clothing, which could be consistent with the buttons. The glasses found at the scene are metal safety ones. The lenses are thick, with the surface pocked by a welding torch. The earpieces do not match. The right one was wrapped with tape. They appeared to have been assembled from parts of 2 or 3 separate pairs. They would have been worn by someone extremely farsighted with astigmatism in the right eye.
Hold on. Did it? No, okay, good. I thought maybe I thought it went way up at the beginning of the... I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't... Okay, sorry about that, guys. Hopefully it'll work, come on.
However, Barentine later told police that he lied when he made the statements.
Oh my god. Okay, here, let's just... Okay, hold on, let's go back up to here. However, 5 blue buttons, transmission fluid. Okay, here we go. I might just confirm. Yeah, okay, I'm in the right spot. It looks like they're just kind of going over some of the same information again. That's what's kind of throwing me off. Okay, so we're starting with transmission fluid, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. If it doesn't pick up, then I'll finish reading it. Really? Are you not going to read it all? Okay, fuck it, I'll read it. Okay, so transmission fluid residue was found on them, referring to the glasses. Based on the glasses, authorities suspected the killer could have been a transient, machinist, or welder. Transients were known to visit the church. Robbery was investigated as a motive. It was suspected that a transient motorist pulled off the highway intending to rob the church members. However, $300 was left in Harold's wallet, which kind of points away from the fact that there was a robbery. It was speculated that the killer may have shot him when he resisted a robbery. Let's see here. Donnie Barentine is considered a possible suspect in this case. I think he is the killer. While at a party, he allegedly bragged about being involved in the murder of a black preacher and his wife in a South Georgia church. 3 witnesses at the party confirmed this. He even showed them the gun he allegedly used in the murder. One witness said that Harold's murder was a tactic to draw out his son-in-law, who owed a drug debt to Barentine's cousin. Although Harold and Thelma did not have a son-in-law, their adopted daughter's stepfather was involved in drugs and in hiding at the time. The witness also said that Barentine was arrested. When he was arrested, he was on his way to shoot and kill a man on orders of his cousin. So it's sounding more and more like that this guy is. It sounds like that this Barentine guy is the killer. That they just cannot get him because of lack of evidence, it sounds like. The cousin had specifically told him to cut the telephone lines before going into the house. And that sounds just like what happened at the church. However, Barentine later told police that he lied when he made the statements. No, he's not lying. He's not fucking lying. This guy is, like I said, criminals are a cowardly bunch. They will say and do whatever it takes to save the skin off their back. Let's see here. His employment records show that he worked on March 11th, the day of the murder, and March 13th, but not on the 12th. During a lineup, Vanzola noticed that he was wearing the same type of boots as the killer. However, she was unable to determine if he was actually the man that she had seen that night. And like I said, it's because she wanted to get out of that building, so she didn't look at him that much. An arrest warrant was prepared, but never submitted to the judge because the DA believed that the witness was unreliable. Oh my God. The unidentified Kansas robbery suspect has also been investigated in connection with this case. His composite matched exactly to the ones made in the Swain case. He also asked the priest for money, which is what some suspect the killer did with Harold. Oh, jeez. And there's actually still a lot more. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break because I didn't realize how long this wiki is. So I'm going to take a quick break, stretch, get some more water, and then I'm also going to see if I can fix the issue with this with the reading software that I use. So I'm just going to pause the recording real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I am back. So I got a different browser opened up, and we'll see if this works. So we're basically on the extra notes, so I'll read this part here. Oops, sorry. This case first aired on the November 2nd, 1988 episode. So I was a couple days short of turning 7 years old when this case came out. This case was also featured on the Trail Went Cold and Undisclosed podcast. During the segment, the actual glasses were found at the scene were shown to the audience and held by host Robert Stack. They were sent there by Sheriff Smith. Fearing for her life, Vanzola did not appear on camera and was not named during the broadcast. The show incorrectly stated that the murder occurred on a Tuesday night. Some sources state that the church was named Rising Daughter Baptist Church, that it was located in Spring Bluff, Georgia, that the meeting was for a missionary society that Thelma was 62 years old. Okay, so let's see if this works this time around. So go down here. Actually, go see if this works any better.
Results unresolved. In July 1998, Sheriff Smith got clearance to spend $40,000 in recovered drug money to hire a full-time investigator named Sergeant Dale Bundy to work solely on this case. He discovered that many of the witnesses had not been interviewed since the murder. He decided to re-interview them. When talking to Cora, he learned that someone had shown her a photograph of a man about 7 years after the murder. She froze up when she saw it and said that he was the killer. She was afraid to identify him, but said that his grandfather lived near the intersection of Spring Bluff Road and Dover Bluff Road. Based on this information, Sergeant Bundy believed that she was talking about 36-year-old carpenter Dennis Arnold Perry.
Okay, so it looks like we may have another person here. His name is Dennis Arnold Perry.
Perry had been a suspect early in the investigation. In 1988, an anonymous tipster had said that he looked like the composite of the killer. He had lived in the area until 1984, when he moved to Jonesboro, Georgia, near Atlanta, and got a job at a concrete company. Investigators at the time spoke with his boss, who said that he was working in Jonesboro, nearly 300 miles from Waverly, until 5 p.m. on the day of the murder. Investigators did not believe he would have had enough time to travel to the church to commit the murder. He apparently did not have a vehicle at the time either. Also, Van Zola failed to pick him out of a photo lineup. As a result, the original investigators cleared him.
Okay, so we had possibly another person, but yeah, this does not make sense because the fact is the guy was over 300 miles away, and he was working up to 5 p.m. at that day, and he didn't even have a vehicle. So yeah, I don't think that this Perry guy did it. I'm still believing that the original person is the one, that Barentine or whatever his name. I think that he is the one that did it. But let's continue on.
However, based on Cora's statement, Sergeant Bundy decided to look further into Perry. He located a mugshot of him from 1990 and showed it to Cora and Van Zola. Both women identified him as the killer. He then determined that the woman who had previously shown Cora the picture of Perry was Camden County resident Jane Beaver. She was the mother of Perry's ex-girlfriend, Carol, and she was also the tipster who called the police and the telecenter, saying that he looked like the composite. She claimed that she called the sheriff's office several times with this information, but Sergeant Bundy was the first person to act on it.
But the question is, if he did it, how do they explain him getting 300 miles all the way from he was working in Jonesboro, nearly 300 miles away from Waverly, until 5 p.m. on the day of the murder? That means he had to, even if he had a car, that means he must have burned ass to get down there, killed him, and then burn ass all the way back to get to his next job the next day. I just don't think that this Perry guy could have done it. He didn't even have a car. What's he going to do? What is he going to do? Ask. Let's say he asks a friend to give him a ride. Okay, they give him a ride 300 miles to Waverly. Then they're going to wait for him to go into the church, and then just wait for him to come out and then go right back up there. No, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense to me. But then again, that's what I like about these videos that I make. This is just me theorizing. I just don't... And let's say the friend dropped him off and then left. That means that he would have to hitchhike from Waverly back to Jonesboro, hopefully catch a ride, and then be able to make it to his next job, if I understood correctly.
Jane told Sergeant Bundy that 2 weeks before the murder, Perry told her,
Hold on.
couple killed at church, March 12th, 1985.
Hold on. Jesus Christ. The program's just acting all sorts of bad today. Or acting up, I should say. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. Oh my God, what? Wow, it really went off the rails. Let's see here. Okay, so... Okay, we'll just start back here again.
Jane told Sergeant Bundy that 2 weeks before the murder, Perry
Oh my God, really? Okay, we'll just go here.
told her that Harold had laughed at him when he asked to borrow money. According to her, he also threatened to kill Harold, although he only referred to him as his grandfather's black neighbor. When interviewed by Sergeant Bundy, Carol Ann claimed that Perry had called her the day before the murder, saying that he had ridden down from Jonesboro on the back of a motorcycle, broken into his grandparents' house, which was near the church, and was riding back the same night. Two of his acquaintances also stated that he had used glasses for reading that were similar to the ones found at the scene.
Okay, hold on. Let's see, that he ridden down from Jonesboro on the back of a motorcycle. Let's see, saying that he, the day before the murder, saying that he had ridden down to Jonesboro on the back of a motorcycle. But the day before the murder, wasn't he still working as a construction worker at that time? You know, like, I'm just so confused, but I'm just not understanding this. I don't think that this Perry guy is the one that did it. But that's just me also. That's just me. Let's see here. Okay.
In August 1998, Sergeant Bundy interviewed Perry at his home in Jacksonville, Florida. He said he was in Atlanta at the time of the murder, knew of Harold but never met him, would never do something like that, and did not own a handgun. However, he also mentioned that Harold had strong hands of a pulpwooder. Sergeant Bundy thought that was strange since he said he had never met Harold. The sheriff's office later felt that there was enough information to make a case against Perry. A Camden County grand jury indicted him on 2 counts of malice murder. On January 13, 2000, he was arrested near his H.
Near his home. Well, apparently they're seeing something that we don't have the ability to see here, you know. But that's the thing about these wikis. Also, we don't know all the information of these cases. We only know what was in the video or what is posted here. Come on.
Couple killed at church.
Oh my God,
March
really?
12th, 1985.
Really? Wow, this thing is just... No, oh my God. Wow, this is... Different color, church... Appeals Court... Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's go back to here again. Jesus Christ. It's just not acting... It's not working properly today.
When questioned after his arrest, Perry maintained that
Come on. Nope, we're not jumping. Keep reading.
that he was in Jonesboro on the night of the murder. He also said that he had been at a party
Nope.
already there at the time that it took place. However, it was confirmed that no such party occurred. According to Sergeant Bundy, after the interview ended, Perry mentioned that he could have taken a motorcycle trip down to Camden County around the time of the murder. The interview then resumed. According to investigators, Perry said he was drinking and using drugs at the time of the murder. He then said that he could have been in the church that night but could not remember. Sergeant Bundy claimed that he said he was in the church that night. He also reportedly said yes to the following inquiries: whether the shooting was an accident, whether the gun went off by accident, and whether he would make it right if he could. When asked about a hypothetical motive, he said, "I think someone ran out of gas and needed money." However, when investigators asked where the gun used in the murder was located, he said they were putting words in his mouth. He recanted his earlier statements and ended the interview. He was later offered a plea deal in which he would plead guilty to voluntary manslaughter in exchange for a 12-year sentence. He refused.
Okay, so and that's what I would do. Also, I would refuse if I did not kill anybody. If I knew I was innocent, and they're like, "Hey, Jeff, we know you killed this person." Hell, I know I didn't kill that person. You're not gonna pin me something on me for something I did not do. I would take the risk and like, we're gonna give you a plea deal, Jeff. Here's a plea deal. I'd outright refuse because I know I'm innocent. If I took that plea deal, then that would be me basically confessing that I killed those people. And if I didn't kill them, I would not take a deal. I would rather throw myself before the court and hope that my case would be strong enough for them to see that I'm being railroaded, basically. But let's see. Now, that's what I would do if it was me. But let's see how does this... Let's see how this continues on. Let's see here. We'll just do a small amount. Let's do this. There we go.
Used. In February 2003, Perry was tried for the murder. His defense claimed that the prosecution's case was based on suggestive and tainted work by investigators, particularly Sergeant Bundy, who made him the prime suspect within a week. They believed that he failed to look at other suspects. They also criticized investigators for losing physical evidence in this case and not recording Perry's alleged confession. They pointed to Barentine being the real.
Being the real killer, basically. Real killer. See, that's the one thing. Honestly, I dislike the fact of having... like just be us the digital age where we have security cameras everywhere. I kind of dislike that because it takes away privacy. But on the other hand, if they ever go to me and goes, "Jeff, we think that you killed somebody," I'll be like, "Oh, really? You think I killed somebody? I want fucking proof." And they're like, "Well, we think you were at this church and you killed these people." I'd be like, "Really? Yeah, you were here at this church around 10 p.m. I'd be like, "Oh, really? I must be a fucking magician because of the fact where I live, we have security cameras all over the place." Yeah, try proving that I was at this church when security cameras show me going into my my home, and also the fact that I love to be online, that my internet presence, there's like a digital trail here. Good luck trying to prove that I was somewhere when you have all this other evidence that says that I'm not, So on one hand, I hate the fact that we're always under surveillance. But on the other hand, I can actually appreciate it because if they ever go, "We think you did this," I'll be like, "Oh, the camera outside my front door says I didn't." Okay, so let's continue on. Yeah, I think that's one of the best additions that they recently did to my apartment complex is that they added a shit ton of security cameras. It's like, yeah, you can accuse me all you want. The camera's right behind me. Say different, buddy. Okay, so let's continue on.
Iller. Prosecutors gave him immunity in exchange for his testimony. He maintained that he did not commit the murder. Perry's coworker testified that they had been together until about 5 p.m. on the day of the murder. After 3 hours of deliberation, a jury found Perry guilty of the murder. In order to avoid the death sentence, he waived his right to appeal his conviction. He was then given 2 consecutive life sentences. Relatives agreed to this deal to avoid going through another trial and appeal.
Wow, holy shit. Wait, where hold on. Where's this? He refused. I'm trying to find, okay, appeals court. Wow. Apparently there must have been more evidence than what we know of. I just don't think that this Perry guy did it. I think the other guy, Barentine, did, but I'm not the one there, I'm not the one. Let's see here. Okay. Let's go down to here.
Court. Despite his conviction, doubts remained regarding Perry's guilt. In 2004, he wrote to the Georgia Innocence Project and asked them to look into this case. There were several things that seemed to point to his innocence. A large amount of evidence from the original investigation had been lost by the time of the trial, including the metal phone box, the vestibule mirror, tapes of witness interviews, crime scene, and police lineup photographs, investigators' notes regarding his alibi, and the glasses found at T.
Found at the scene. Yeah, this guy sounds like he was being railroaded, if you ask me.
E. Scene. It is believed that they were lost after being sent to Unsolved Mysteries.
Come on. Don't crap out on me now. We're almost done, damn you. Okay, come on.
Steries. Agent Gregory notes that sending them there in the first place broke the chain of custody for them. Interestingly, DNA testing showed that the hairs found attached to the glasses were not Perry's. An eye examination determined that he had 20/20 vision and had no need for a prescription to correct extreme farsightedness. However, the DNA also did not match Barentine, so his defense attorneys decided not to bring it up at trial, other than in their opening statement. At the trial, prosecutors claimed that the glasses weren't relevant. During the initial investigation, Perry also had an alibi witness, his boss, that placed him at work that afternoon, far away from the scene. However, by the time of his arrest, the company had shut down, and his employment records were not available. Carroll, while testifying at the trial, could not remember the date that he had made the phone call to her about driving to Camden County.
He didn't even have a car, according to reports. So
County. By the time of the trial, many of the church eyewitnesses had passed away. His attorneys noted that the eyewitness descriptions of the killer were unreliable, as they only saw him briefly. Also, they may have suffered from cross-race effect, which occurs when witnesses try to describe and/or identify suspects of a different race. All of the witnesses were black and the killer was white. Researchers have determined that individuals are less likely to remember and later recognize the face of someone who is of another race versus someone of their own race. The description of the killer varied greatly between each witness, by hair color, length, type, facial hair, clothing, and whether he was wearing glasses or not. Cora also gave descriptions of him that varied over time, mainly involving the length and color of his hair. Although the jury heard that he was described as having blonde hair, at least 3 witnesses said his hair was a different color.
Okay, so there seems to be a lot of doubt cast on Perry. While a lot of this, what they're talking about seems to really kind of show that this guy Perry could have been innocent. I'm just going right back at the fact that he didn't have a car, and he was seen 300 miles away at the 300 miles away on the job. He was doing a job 300 miles away, according to his boss. Now, granted, the paperwork was long gone because the business closed down, but the fact that somebody remembered him working, that day, that kind of makes me think that he was innocent. I'm sorry, call me biased, and that it's because I'm doing this video, and everything. But I think that Barentine or whatever, I think that guy is the one that did it. Okay, we'll start with Perry's attorneys.
Errant color. Perry's attorneys also noted that Cora and Van Zola's identifications of him were contaminated. They were the only witnesses who identified him as the killer. The identification took place 13 years after the murder, and after they were shown the photograph of him by Jane. Also, Cora was shown it by Sergeant Bundy in a less than ideal setting, after she had fallen down and was waiting for an ambulance. Furthermore, both witnesses were shown a single photograph of Perry instead of in a photo lineup. Additionally, they were not asked to identify him in the courtroom at the trial.
Okay, yeah, that seems to be kind of sketchy to question somebody who apparently fell down and was in the need of medical help. Yeah, I understand you're really hurt. You just had this bad fall. You're going to be going into this ambulance. You're in a lot of pain. I understand that. But here, take a look at this picture. Did this look like the person who did? Was it really the person? Was it really? This investigator should be reprimanded. You would think that one of the most basic courses at the academy that they teach is you don't question somebody who's in a lot of pain being given medical attention. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. I just don't think that that's a optimal situation to question somebody. Yes, I understand. You're having a heart attack. You broke your leg. You're in extreme pain. Is this a person that did it? Can you tell me? Oh my fucking god. Okay.
Couple killed at church,
God.
March 12th, 1980.
This fucking program. Holy shit. Okay, let's see here. The problem is I lose track of where we are. Let's see. Different color. Okay, contaminated but only. Okay, I think. I can't recall if it was this point. Okay, so actually, before I continue on, hold on. I'm going to check something. I'm going to see if there's actually any updates for this program. Oh, that could be why it's acting up. Okay, so I'm going to pause it real quick, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I got up the browser update. Let's see if this works any better. Hold on. Okay, I think this is where we left off. I can't recall for sure, so. Come on.
Couple killed at church, March 12th.
Wow, really? Wow, it is just fucking acting up today. Okay, hold on, let's do this. Furthermore. Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. Different color. Less than ideal. Okay. Furthermore, let's see here. Let's just see if I can do it like a smaller amount.
an ambulance. Furthermore, both witnesses were shown a single photograph of Perry instead of in a photo lineup. Additionally, they were not asked to identify him in the courtroom at the trial. During it, Cora was shown a photograph of Barentine. She said she thought he also looked
like the killer. Okay, let's continue on.
the killer. Furthermore, investigators did not record Perry's alleged confession, despite the fact that one of them had a tape recorder with him. Also, only one of them took notes which were later destroyed after a summary of them was made. The interview was nearly 3 hours long, however, the summary was only 2 pages. Certain parts of the alleged confession were not included in the summary. Perry claimed that he never confessed. Several witness interviews, including Carol Ann's, were not
recorded either. Yeah, just based on the lack of evidence, there should have been at least another trial. It seems like this Perry guy, he could have been just railroaded basically, which is unheard of. Okay, let's try it again. Come on.
recorded either. In March 2015, the Georgia Innocence Project filed a motion seeking a new trial for Perry based on advancements in DNA testing. They petitioned the court to have touched DNA testing done on the following items that were found at the scene: shirt buttons that did not come from the victim's clothing, telephone wires, and shell casings. DNA testing was later completed by the project. However, no usable DNA
was found on the items. Okay.
on the items. In 2018, the Undisclosed podcast began working with the Georgia Innocence Project on this case. They found evidence that suggested that Perry's constitutional rights were violated at his trial.
You think?
They discovered that Jane had asked for a $12,000 reward the day after his arrest. She later received it, however. This information was not given to the defense attorneys or the jury. Some jurors cited her testimony as playing a critical role in their decision. They were also not told that Jane reportedly had lost touch with reality and suffered from delusions, hallucinations, and paranoia. Other interviews and evidence were also reportedly not disclosed to the defense. Carol and also told the podcast that she did not believe.
That she did not believe that Perry was guilty. Yeah, so we are starting to sound more and more like this guy was railroaded, and the fact that somebody was apparently asking for money, that really kind of, at least in my eyes, that kind of casts a little bit of doubt on their claims. Can you tell? If we give you $2,000, can you say that Jeff killed somebody? Yeah. I'm remembering it right now. Jeff. Yeah, he was over at that pizza restaurant, and somebody spit on his pizza, and he fucking viciously killed that. Yeah. Okay. Can I have my money now? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Why would they even give her $2,000, or that money? Why?
RRY was guilty. Joshua Sharp, a reporter from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, decided to look into one of the former suspects that was mentioned by the podcast, 56-year-old Eric Sperry. He grew up in Brunswick, Georgia, and spent time in the Waverly area. He came onto investigators' radar in March 1986, after he allegedly told his ex-wife, Emily, that he committed the murder. He also harassed and threatened her family, claiming that he was responsible for killing 2 people in a church. He said, "I'm the mother F that killed the 2N. In that church, her family recorded the threats and played them for police. The tape off."
The tape has since been lost. Isn't it weird that everything is fucking being lost in this case? Everything is being lost, like, holy shit.
Since been lost. Emily said that sometime during the week of the murder, Sperry left their house in the morning wearing dark clothing and came home the next morning wearing only a white t-shirt. Dark clothing matches the killer's clothing description and the buttons found at the scene. She said he often wore a pair of lizard-skinned boots, like the ones W.
Like the ones worn by the killer. Now, I don't recall they said that it was lizard skin boots. They just said the guy wore boots, if I remember correctly. Okay, let's see here. Hopefully we can get... Because this part of the video is already over an hour long. So if you're watching this video, I apologize about how long it's taken. Holy shit, I didn't realize it would be this long. I thought this was just going to be a quick video. What time is it? Let's see here. What time is it? Wow, it's 10 on the dot. Holy cow. Okay. 10 a.m. I should say. Okay, so furthermore.
Sperry.
Nope.
The killer. Furthermore, Emily said Sperry had a pair of beat-up glasses he had constructed using 3 pairs of his father's glasses. She said he lost them sometime before the murder. She identified the pair found at the crime scene as belonging to him from a pair of 3. She said he worked as a welder. A welding torch was used on them. She also said he owned several guns and was abusive to her. She and others also claimed that he was racist and did not like black people. It was noted that he fired a shotgun at his former in-law's house and had pulled a gun on a black or Asian man, kicked out his windshield, and threatened his life. He also matched the description of the killer. Sperry claimed he was working at a Winn-Dixie in Brunswick on the night of the murder. Agent Gregory obtained the
store's number.
Ori obtained the store's number and talked to Donald Mobley, who said he was the manager. He said Sperry was working all night. As a result, he was cleared by investigators in 1986. However, as Sharp looked into the alibi, he discovered that none of the identifying details in police files about Mobley matched any person by that name. The work phone number listed belonged to a woman, now deceased. Her daughter told Sharp that she had a phone in her back shed that someone could have used to call Agent Gregory. Sharp located the store's manager at the time of the murder, David Mobley. None of the details in the police file matched him either, such as his address, birth date, SSN, and phone numbers. He said he did not remember talking to police about Sperry and had no employee named Donald Mobley at the time. Agent Gregory now believes that Sperry gave him a fake name and number for his manager.
Oh, looking like the
Sperry manager.
Sperry could be the guy.
Another ex-wife of Sperry's came forward in 1998, saying that during an argument in 1988, he held her down on their bed with a pillow over her face. She screamed and said, "Don't kill me." She then was able to free herself. She brought up the murder, saying, "You could have killed those people in Camden County." He responded, "Yeah, I could have killed those people." She also said that around the time of the murder, police came to his house and he acted very nervous. She further said he was abusive, a drug user, had several firearms, had threatened that he could have someone killed, and was racist. When Sharp interviewed her in 2019, she added that he had explicitly told her that he had killed Harold and Thelma. She also said that he used to change his voice and pretend to be other people over the phone. PLE over the phone. The Georgia Innocence Project decided to conduct DNA testing to see if the hairs found with the glasses were Sperry's. In February 2020, they collected DNA from his mother, Gladys. In March, the DNA testing determined that the hairs most likely belonged to him. The results showed that they belonged to someone from his maternal line. It excluded over 99% of the population. He has since claimed that he is not racist. is not missing glasses and has never been to the church. He initially claimed that he never confessed to the murder. However, he later said he did it to scare his ex-wife. Scare his ex-wife. In late March 2020, Perry's attorneys took the DNA results and other evidence to Brunswick DA Jackie Johnson. However, she refused to give her consent to a new trial. In April, his attorneys and the Georgia Innocence Project filed an extraordinary motion for a new trial. They argued that he likely never would have been tried if the DNA results and other evidence against Sperry were available.
That's very true.
In May, citing the new evidence, DA Johnson asked the GBI and the Camden County Sheriff's Office to reopen their investigation into the murder. Then, in July, Judge Stephen Scarlett overturned Perry's conviction and granted him a new trial.
Good.
He said that, had the DNA evidence been available at the trial, it probably would have...
Oops, sorry. Crap. Sorry. That's my bad.
It probably would have produced a different verdict. On July 23rd, he was released from prison on his own recognizance. Interestingly, Gladys was found dead in her home a few days after Perry's conviction was overturned.
Oh, jeez.
Her cause of death has not been released, and it is not known if foul play was involved. In November, Harold's body was exhumed in hopes of finding more DNA evidence. Investigators were able to gather evidence during the exhumation. However, it is not known what was found. In July 2021, Keith Higgins, the newly appointed DA, dismissed the charges against Perry. As a result, he was exonerated. He addressed the court, saying that he hoped that the real killer would be found. In April 2022, he was awarded $1.2 million by the state for his wrongful imprisonment. The investigation into the murder remains active and ongoing. As of yet, no charges have been filed against Sperry or anyone else. Vanzola, Jane, and Emily have since passed away. Links.
Okay.
Couple killed at church.
Okay, so at least Sperry was finally cleared. So it looks like oh god, I can't recall what the guy's name is. The guy, Gladys's son. God, I can't recall what the guy's name is. Jeez, we've been going over this case for so long. My brain is starting to get fried. But I knew it wasn't Sperry just based on the fact that he didn't have a car and he was over 300 miles away. Barentine, or whatever his name is, I still say that he's possibly the killer, but then we got this other guy. Oh god, what was his name? Let's see. It was the guy, Gladys's son, whatever his name is. But here, let's go all the way down. So we got Harold and Thelma Swain at Find a Grave. So we'll do, let's see here, it's actually just, there we go. So I'm just going to open them up in each of their own browser window or tabs. Okay, so we got Harold Swain. Harold was born on the 4th of July, 1918. The location was Magnolia Church County, Georgia, USA. Date of death was March 11th, 1985. He was 66 years old. Waverly, Camden County, Georgia, USA. Rising Daughter Cemetery is where he was buried. Spring Bluff, Camden County, Georgia, USA. Okay, so let's look at some photos. We have, it looks like just a general photo. It looks like he had a baseball hat on, or a baseball cap. Here he is at the church, it looked like. The marker and just another angle of it. And then one thing I didn't mention was Thelma. They were married. His wife is the only person, so the only family member's spouse, Thelma Lang Swain. Okay, for Thelma, we have Thelma Lang Swain. Date of birth was December 25th, 1921. Wow, she was born on Christmas, and Harold was born on the 4th of July. Wow, I wish I could say I had a birthday that was a significant date, you know. Location was Waverly, Camden County, Georgia. Day of death, March 5th, 1985. She is 63 years of age, Waverly, Camden County, Georgia, USA. And then she was buried at the Rising Daughters Cemetery. And then it just lists Harold as her husband. But yeah, that is about it, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, I cannot believe that this case took this long. It would probably have been a little bit sooner without all the problems that we were going through. But I just want to say thank you to Jasmine for taking the time to join us. And we will see her next time. I'm going to take a quick break. My throat is dry, so I'm going to rest it for a few minutes. And then I will be right back with my final thoughts.
Mask, where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
Invert switchblade to jet mode. Surprise, Matt Tracker. It's mayhem. Battle station. Protect the decoder, Bruce. I'm going up. Stacks ready to fire.
Mask, Switchblade, Thunderhawk, and Rhino.
Fire!
Each sold separately with action figure.
Cover me, Matt. 10-4. Sato's getting away. But you're not, Mayhem.
Mask, Switchblade, Thunderhawk, and Rhino. Each sold separately. New from Kenner.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the portion of the show where I give you my final thoughts, and I'm not going to stay here that much longer and take up more of your time. You guys have been totally awesome spending all your time today to watch this video. I didn't realize it'd take that long, but anyway, the road to justice is very twisted, in my opinion. Sometimes the people we think that are the killers are not the killers, and the people we think are innocent are actually the killers. I want to go on record and say that, upon going through this case once again, that I always thought that Sperry was innocent, just the fact that he wasn't near the area. But that's just my opinion. We all have our opinions. Some people possibly could think that Sperry did it. Some people think that Barentine could be innocent. We do not know. That's the thing about these type of videos. We're just giving you our thoughts. Ultimately, what we want is to see the people brought to justice, the people who killed Harold and Thelma. We should not forget that ultimately the victim in this case, our victims are Harold and Thelma. And as long as their killer is not brought to justice, then their justice is being delayed. And as somebody once said, justice delayed is justice denied. And that's all I really got to say. So if you liked what you watched, which I hope you did, feel free to click on that subscribe button, click on the bell. You'll be alerted when I release new content. I have all my social media information in the description below. And that's about it. Next time, I will be talking about the case of... Let's see here. What is the case again? Hold on one second. We will be covering the case of Jerry Strickland and Missy Monday. Those two people were responsible for murdering a person named Elmer DeBoer. So stay tuned, and we'll go over that case next time. But until then, my name is Jeff, aka GCurse. Wishing you all a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out.